Hi, my name is Phil. I like talking about politics. In this video, I'd like to discuss the specific warnings that British businesses have been issuing about the devastation to UK trade if Boris Johnson persists with his Brexit threats. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, then please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, I said there would be multiple strands to discuss when it came to the government's announcement at the start of the week. And Michael Gove's announcement about, oh yes, there will be border checks in 2021. It's like, okay, you weren't saying that before. And couple that with Boris Johnson's discussion of an Australia-style deal, which means no deal at all with the EU, and British business groups are up in arms in a state of blind panic. The Food and Drink Federation, the National Farmers Union, the Freight Transport Association, the British Retailers Consortium, all of these huge business lobby groups, all warning that if Boris Johnson walks us out of the EU without a deal, it will destroy British trade. That is the term they are using. Their concern, of course, is for their businesses, the businesses of their members. But of course, there are wider implications for the rest of us. The massive hole it will put in the economy. And what does that mean? I mean, the economy is a fairly nebulous term to most of us. What that means is we're not producing as much, which means we don't need to employ as many people. Lots and lots of more unemployment. And we're not talking about a lot of net profits either for these companies. When that sort of happens, it usually signals concern. We're a little bit concerned about what you're playing at, government. We're not going to make as much money. No. We're talking full-scale panic here amongst business leaders. Many of their businesses simply cannot survive what Boris Johnson is threatening. Whole businesses will just go under. It's been likened to robbing a bank by holding a gun to your own head. And the insanity is what's particularly frustrating for them. Boris Johnson says he'll walk away from the EU without a deal unless they agree to a Canada-style deal. But the EU have not refused to negotiate a Canada-style deal. It's just that that sort of deal takes many years to negotiate. That is because a Canada-style deal means that tariffs and quotas exist on some goods, even if it's only a small proportion. What that means is you have to individually negotiate each of the tens of thousands of commodities that the two sides might wish to trade with one another. You think about how long it's going to take to negotiate each commodity, and then think there's tens of thousands of them. That takes years. Even if you're not quibbling about anything else, that in itself takes years. The point that these lobby groups have been trying to make is that at the moment, they enjoy zero tariffs on all of their goods and, all that they export to the EU, but that's what we're talking about. They also enjoy frictionless transport. Someone from Belgium says, oh, can you send me over this thing you sell? Yes, it'll be there tomorrow. That is the situation in which they're competing. And they are still competing, remember. They have competitors. So they're not sitting back on the top of a monopoly or anything. They have zero tariffs, zero barriers to getting the stuff to their customers. So start to add in customs duties to those goods, and all of a sudden they're more expensive and not really competing as easily now. And many of them, if they had really small profit margins before, won't be competing at all. That's it. They are out of business immediately. That's a load of businesses gone straight away. Then cause yourself huge delays due to checks when Michael Gove says that the systems needed won't even be ready until 2025. So now you can't get your goods to your customer in a reliable manner. They ring you up saying, can you send me some of these things over? Yes, we can. When will it arrive? Not sure. Typically, it seems to be taking about a week. A week, not a day. No, about a week. Sometimes two. Average is about a week. They go elsewhere. That's not good enough for a lot of them. So that's another cross against the list of qualities needed for a competitive business. Can actually deliver the product to the customer. Can't do it reliably. Sorry. And when it comes to that transport of goods, the Freight Transport Association has been saying that the government are not giving them any details about what they need to do to prepare for 2021. They need to do that now. They can't just do it overnight. For all the messages from government telling businesses, oh, check out our website for details of things, because the government are doing that. They're telling businesses things are going to change. You need to be up with the changes. Check out the website. Ordinary members of the public look at that and they think, oh, it's all well in hand then. It is not. Nobody knows what is happening, and businesses need a long run up to changing systems. Consider this. When you look at trade deals that have been conducted all around the world, not just with the EU, between other trading blocs and countries as well, there are essentially two periods. The first one is the period of time that it took to negotiate the agreement itself, so that certain number of years. Then there's the period of time it takes for one or both sides to change its rules and systems to be able to implement the thing they've just agreed before it can go live. And that implementation period is not as usually as long as the negotiation period, but it does still take a few years, 2 or 3 years usually. In addition, whilst we're on the subject of this Canada-style deal, of course, there is a Canada deal with the EU, which includes from Canada's part a commitment for them to adopt certain new rules to fall in line with the EU, many of which they've already implemented. There's a couple of others still to be done. So by asking for a Canada-style deal, Boris Johnson is also asking to adopt EU rules. Just saying there, just saying. But that implementation period takes a while. Normally the countries continue to trade under their current circumstances whilst they're implementing the new systems. Then when it's implemented, then the new arrangement goes live. What we are talking about doing is negotiate an agreement. Let's say we get this agreement. And then, instead of continuing to trade on the current circumstances while we implement things, we're planning on going on full-on WTO, which is to say much worse conditions whilst we implement before it can all go live. And that is what is so maddening for these businesses. Let's say that Boris Johnson gets his agreement by the end of this year, which is impossible, but let's just say. Now, we need to adopt systems in order to be able to cope with the extra checks. Michael Gove says that the IT systems won't be ready until 2025. So we know we can't possibly have these systems implemented, whatever they happen to be, until 4 years after the end of the transition period. Now, I don't even know about the physical infrastructure that would also need to be ready, because they're not given an idea about when that will be ready. But given that it hasn't even begun yet, I'm going to guess that's also going to be a few years away. So is it any wonder that British businesses are panicking? And if their worst fears are realised, that means losing over £100 billion, certainly tens of billions pounds worth of damage to the economy, having to rely more on foreign suppliers because our own businesses are going under. That'll cost us more due to tariffs, of course, coming into the country, and a massive increase in unemployment. So, anyone looking forward to 2021? So I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, then please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.